You're watching LMCC.
Hi, I'm Kellie Murphy-Ringate, Fire Marshal and Public Educator for the Excelsior Fire District, and welcome to First Responder TV, your public safety source, featuring training exercises, safety tips, and much more. Here's what's coming up on First Responder TV. We'll talk with Jake LaFerriere, founder and executive director of Firefighters for Healing. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office provides ice rescue training to lake area public safety departments on Safety Source. Joey Blackstone, the 2019 Mound Firefighter of the Year, goes above and beyond to serve the community on making a difference. Scam Alert will give you updates on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area. Joining me today is Jake LaFerriere from Firefighters with Healing. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks so very much for having me.
Will you share with our viewers your journey?
My journey started as a 3-year-old little boy wanting to be a firefighter like his dad. So my dad was a fireman for Minneapolis Fire for 31 years. You know, so I kind of watched my dad. He used to bring me down to the firehouse down to Station 8. And I just fell in love with this being a firefighter at 3. And then I started off and I was really gung-ho, and we did 3 months there at the TAC. I got through EMT, hazmat, firefighter 1, firefighter 2, all those kind of classes. I got my assignment, and it actually turned out to be at Station 8, where I was that little boy at 3 years old. That dream kind of came full circle. And then flash forward to kind of how things really kind of changed in my life. July 3rd, 2010, at this point I was on Rescue 9, which is a specialized rescue company in the city of Minneapolis. We have 2. A call comes in, as transmitted as a smoke in the building call. This time Denny and I, my captain, hopped off rescue, and we were the first truck in, essentially, so our job at that point was to do a primary search. I saw Denny put his mask on, and I normally wouldn't have put my mask on in this kind of haze. There was not much to it. So at this point we got to the 3rd floor. There's no real heat, no visible fire. I kind of went to the right and I'm filling the wall, and my captain Denny went over to kind of the left and he's filling the wall. So we kind of met at the halfway point. Still no fire, but at this point we heard it crackling in the knee wall. The electrical wire in there was buttoned up even more, so it was burning. We heard it crackling in the knee wall. So at this point, Denny had radio back down to engine 11. Engine 11, we found the fire. It's up on the 3rd. At this point, I just grabbed my axe and I breached the wall. I broke into the wall, and at this time, really what happened is that electrical fire was starving for oxygen. You know, and I hate to say this, but for lack of better terms, if any of your viewers or listeners ever saw the movie Backdraft, well, this is what happened. So the fire was actually starving for oxygen, and when it got that introduction to oxygen, it was like a bomb. So it had ignition, it was contained, and it had fuel. So it actually picked up, and everything blew up, and it actually picked the house up off the foundation and shot the roof off. And there was 30-foot fireballs actually that lapped around down the eaves down here. At this point, actually, the impact blew me 11 feet, they estimated, one way on that impact from the wall. Hard to articulate this, but it was just a wall of fire. I was and it was floor to ceiling, wall to wall, all fire. I had my gloves off because I was feeling for the knee wall and the heat. So I started burning up. I kind of got up and I came to, and I don't know, some people say they see the light. And I believe that, you know, it was sunlight that God had been sending through the window for me. I went over there, kind of fought over to get over to there, and I started yelling for a ladder. I was on the 3rd floor now. I didn't wait long at all. It was a 3-story fall. I hung to try to ease my fall, my jump, and then I let go. And the reason why I'm talking to you today, because God had an overhang down there, a porch overhang, and I landed on it. And I ended up breaking my talus bone and everything on impact, and I landed down, and I was kind of down there. But without that, I wouldn't be here today. It would have been a 3-story, probably to my death. I didn't know how bad it was until I started actually walking down, and I'm kind of doing the limp thing, and then people were just kind of turning their head, and they're looking at me, and I don't know what I looked like or anything, you know? Well, what I looked like was I was melted. Everything was melting on me in black. I burned, you know, and then my hands, my skin off my hand was all falling off. I had 3rd and 4th degree burns to my hands. Like I said, the 4th degree are to your tendons. I had 2nd degree around a vast majority of my body, and I had broken some limbs in this injury. I didn't undergo my first major surgeries for about a week, just so I was more stable, my vital signs. And your burns actually grow, they burn inside out, so you get worse. They just actually get worse and worse and worse. So at this time, it was my first surgery, my first skin graft surgery, where I went in and they actually took all my skin off my legs. They put me in these things called wound vacs, and they're kind of a state of the art where they suck out all the bad stuff, and they're supposed to advance your healing as your grafts will take quicker. So after 2 weeks of that, they'd start doing these things called dressing changes, and basically a dressing change is where they really debride all your wounds from infection, and so your wounds can heal from the outside in, so you don't have big lumps in your hands. The Dilaudids, the morphines, everything that they gave me wouldn't even touch the pain that I had to go every time they had to debride me and scrape these things down. I felt it all. That pain cut so deep into me, into my soul. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. And it was maybe a day or two later, we had 2 little boys that were admitted to the room next to me, a 3 and a 5-year-old. So every single day, I thought to myself, well, I had a choice in my injury. I knew the inherent risks of being a firefighter, and I took those to serve. These boys didn't have that. So they became like my healing, my hope, my resilience, my strength. And every time I was having, a bad day with my dressing changes, I would look at those 2 little boys and I think, I can do it. They can do it. I can do it. So, everybody in the community wanted to help because they didn't know the prognosis of what we were going to be. Like we could go back to work. They threw a fundraiser down there at 7 Sushi, and it was unbelievable, the turnout from everybody that went there. And my inside cries that night were of the 2 little boys that were still in the burn unit and what they were going through, right? The same pain that I'm going through. So the money that was raised, we took a big portion of those dollars, and we sent some kids at that time in 2010 out to Colorado to a camp called Sheely, a burn camp.
You went through this journey, but at one time through your journey, Firefighters for Healing was born. Was it born at that fundraiser with those 2 boys, giving back to them? Was it born through, some of the things that you went through? It's like trying to pinpoint when you think that Firefighters Healing was born and then to watch it expand.
I think the go-to answer has always been that day of the event, but honestly, just from my heart being filled deep down in my soul, it was when the interaction of the 2 boys and I met that day on the burn unit floor, right?
So they were like your first reach out. So that's where it was basically born, and just talking to different people and different firefighters, you kind of went, we can do more.
Firefighters for Healing was birthed, and that was the first event in 2011. And it kind of just slowly started growing, and I kind of was trying to grow and get through this whole thing too. And I think we got to a place in 2015, our work for Firefighters for Healing was recognized in the country on a national scale. It brought a lot of light, a lot of attention to our work here. And from that place in 2015, we really kind of put together a bigger picture of what the organization was from an infrastructure standpoint. The mission statement, we really refined what the potential was and what our goals were. Essentially by our mission statement is Firefighters for Healing steps in where insurance companies and caregivers leave off. We fill those gaps really passionately, lovingly, like boots on the ground, right at bedside, right with these patients. We'll come down there. I will spend time there with them as they go through their experience as a survivor. We also do a ton of stuff from a basic essentials for the families, as you think about is, if it's bad, they're going to be there a couple weeks on up to, we had 18-month stay recently. So those families are in financial crisis at that time. So we're kind of helping support that crisis as far as the financial means. And then over time, as I kind of alluded to earlier in the conversation was, we did send kids to camp for many years out to Chile because we didn't have the resources, the timing, the planning, or the funding to put our own camp together. So it took us many, 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 many years to be able to kind of put that framework together and put it to work, right? Put it to action. You can see my disfigurements, right, on my hands. This is pretty minor. A lot of these kids have them all over their face. They have contractures. They can't talk. They're dealing with all that. And this camp really provides an experience for them to not be in a judgment-free zone, but having friends, new friends that have gone through this. And one thing coming kind of full circle with what healing is, one thing I've learned is other survivors can help you with that. And people that you've never met, strangers for lack of better terms, pushing love and healing towards you, praying for you. So that has been something that we try to really emulate in our brand is just care, think outwards, think about others that are suffering.
So, and now we have this beautiful healing center that's going to be built in June.
Where's there a big need, right? A big gap we need to fill. So we started thinking through that and having conversations with the docs down in Hennepin Healthcare and what's this other need that needs to be filled. And it really what it was is temporary housing. So we went to the drawing board essentially and we figured out, who's got a building like this other than Ronald McDonald, right? Who's got one that supports the burn community? And we figured out in Vancouver actually, it's called the BC Burn Building, had one up there. So we got up on stage at one of our gals and just said, hey, listen, we're gonna explore this idea and we'd like to raise some initial dollars to see if this actually can be something that's feasible and it's real. We've got to a place now where we are going to start building our building. We break ground on it in June. We're super excited about it. So basically what this building will be is it'll provide 3 needs. And the first thing it'll be is, so families come in, so if their loved one, their child, or their brother, their sister, their mom's in the burn unit, they stay there. And then the second need is that we, transitional care like me, including me, when I actually left the hospital, I didn't have anybody to care for me. These patients will be able to come from the burn unit right into our building, which is going to be skyway connected to the hospital. And then the third need that this building will fill is any firefighter throughout the entire state of Minnesota or first responder coming to the Twin Cities for any reasons, not just burn related, but post-traumatic stress, cancer, heart-related issues, you name it, we are going to let them and their families stay at first come, first serve stay as well. So those are the 3 needs that this building, the Transitional Healing Center, will really fill.
Can I volunteer? Can I just give you a donation online?
We need the community support in many different levels. Number one, as far as kind of identifying key people in the community that can make larger gifts, any gifts actually that will help in the capital campaign. For that, we also need just awareness. We need engagement. You can find us like on www.firefightersforhealing.org. There's a ton of stuff that we got on there.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to add?
I was so captured by the pain that I felt and the pain as a burn patient, goes through. It cuts so deep. You start crying a lot even after injury just from the pain. I think it cuts so deep, it hits your soul. So I think that my pain was so profound, and I just was fighting it every day. And every time I fought it, I would think of those 2 boys, and I just thought, how are they feeling, right? So it really was a transformational state for me from maybe my mission at that time I didn't know so clear at that time, going from a firefighter to being a burn survivor advocate, right? And not only being an advocate, but being their angel, right? Being their resilience, being their strength when they're going through that. Because the evolution of recovery, you're all at different chapters at different times. And you can encourage and inspire each one of us to do so at different times. And I think the pain and the pain that I feel today, woven me into this mission, and it really is truly my vocation now.
Thank you so much for spending all this time with us and giving us all this information about Firefighters for Healing. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us on here. We're honored. It's a blessing, and like I said, we couldn't do this without awesome friends, So thanks for, thinking of us in such a light to bring us on here.
First Responder TV will be back after this short break.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Ice on any lake is never 100% safe. Ice-related emergencies occur frequently. To prepare for different emergencies, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office provides ice rescue training for lake area public safety departments.
Sheriff's Office is here to help you.
Annually, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office Water Patrol Unit provides ice rescue training to the fire departments in Hennepin County. And that's what we're conducting here tonight. The goal of this training is to make it easier for the fire departments and the deputies to work together. we're not always in the right place at the right time if a water emergency comes out. So we rely heavily on our fire department partners to possibly start a rescue or meet us at the same time. And working together in these training scenarios helps us understand how each other operates, so we're kind of operating on the same level.
I'm John, I'm with the fire department. What's your name?
I hope that they get comfortable with the ice rescue suits we're wearing, which is a dry suit with a snowmobile suit basically zipped or velcroed inside for thermal protection. They retain a lot of air when you initially get in, so we teach them how to remove the air from the suit so it fits a little tighter, and just get comfortable being in the water and understand that they are protected while they're wearing this.
Sheriff's office, I'm here to help you. Just stay calm, listen to my voice.
We're simulating rescues. We're simulating single firefighter or single deputy rescues and tandem deputy or tandem firefighter rescues.
Okay, I'm coming up behind you. Stay on the ice shelf.
We'll use tools as a rescue sling, which is similar to a pool noodle with a piece of webbing in it.
My name's Travis. I'm going to crawl to you and hand you this noodle.
Sometimes we're incorporating a floating Stokes basket, which helps with spinal mobilization.
I'm going to hold on to you. Just stay on your back and float for me, all right?
It's just important that we get to work together. We can't emulate all scenarios, but we try our best.
Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to turn and face the pole. I'm going to come up behind you. I'm going to put a rope around you.
If you fall through the ice, initially you're going to have a gasp reflex. You're going to take in a big breath just because of the shock of the temp difference. You need to remain calm. You just need to tread water. You need to turn around, get your bearings. Where did I come from? You know, what building did I walk from? Can I see my tracks in the snow? You need to turn around and go back to those tracks because that ice held you right up until you fell in. That's going to be the strongest ice you know of in the area.
Don't let go of that ice shelf, are you all right?
Okay.
All right, we're gonna get you out of the water pretty quick here.
Well, it's important to be ready at all times. We don't know when we're going to get the call that somebody fell in, and it's good to work with these guys side by side. It forms good relationships. We don't always know each other's names, but we got to work together in that emergency situation effectively.
We'd like to spotlight a member of the community that goes above and beyond in our segment, Making a Difference. This month, it's the 2019 Mound Firefighter of the Year, Joey Blackstone.
To be named the Firefighter of the Year, it feels really good. It's an honor to be nominated this early into my career. It took my breath away. I was not expecting it. It feels really, really good. I've been here for just over 2 years. I started my career before that with Long Lake Fire. I was there for 3. It's very rewarding. We have a good group of guys at Mound Fire Department. It goes all the way up to the office staff and our chief officers and our captains and lieutenants. We have a really good group of guys here. It's a really good department to be on. I wanted to be a firefighter. It actually started when I was 2 years old. We had a house fire at my house. Thankfully, everyone got out, and because of the Mound Fire Department, they were able to save our house. And a big part of that was our Mound Chief 2, Greg Palm. He had a big impact on my family getting through the hard process. And I hope that one day I can do that for someone in need as well. I love helping people. I'm a people person. I get real joy out of making people's problems better. But to be recognized by Mound Fire so short into my career, it's really good. I was not expecting it. Hard work pays off.
LMCC Community Television has come a long way since its inception in 1984.
Oh, buongiorno, friends. We've got an exciting show for you today. Today's secret Yellow Pages letter is B. All right, let's get to it.
Yeesh. Did anyone actually watch this program? But now, LMCC's high-definition evolution is complete. Introducing Community Channel 12 in HD. Watch high school sports, concerts, and LMCC's award-winning original programming in crystal clear HD. Your community TV, now in HD.
Bremer Bank, St. Anthony, Maine. Bremer Bank, Richfield.
It's time for Scam Alert. This segment alerts the public on scams that have been reported to local police departments.
A parent in Hutchinson received a phone call from a crying and distraught female who claimed to be his daughter and said she was abducted and tied up in the trunk of a car. Then, a man took the phone and told him that he had kidnapped his daughter and the parent needed to send ransom money through Western Union to get her back. However, the police department determined it was a scam attempting to trick him into wiring money and that his daughter was safe at school the entire time. The investigators traced the original phone call to somewhere in Mexico. Recently, abduction scams have become a common trick used by criminals to deceive unsuspecting parents and grandparents. Scammers are armed with just enough information to make you believe it's real. Anyone who gets a call demanding ransom money in exchange for a loved one needs to report it immediately. Try and write down the phone number they're using, then contact your local police department. An official-looking email or letter arrives claiming the state is holding on to your unclaimed property, which may be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. All you have to do is pay a fee up front or provide your personal information and the money is yours. But the emails and letters are the work of scammers, not state officials. People across the country are falling for these messages, losing money or becoming victims of identity theft. Scammers pretend they work for the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators, which represents state unclaimed property programs. They use official-looking letters and emails with professional-sounding language that make it hard to distinguish from the real thing. Unclaimed property is cash or other financial assets considered lost or abandoned when an owner can't be found after a certain period of time. It includes dormant savings accounts, life insurance payments, death benefits, and the contents of abandoned safe deposit boxes. The scammers are contacting people at random, many of them seniors, hoping to snare a victim with the idea that they are getting back assets they're owed. They try to get money or personal information upfront and quickly, often warning that the transaction must be kept confidential. If they comply, the scammers will keep asking for more. If you believe you have abandoned property, the treasurer or auditor of each state maintains a list and runs an online database that anyone can search by name for free. Car wrap scams are targeting college students and offering to pay them to drive around with branding wrapped onto their car. The scam starts with emails claiming that you'll get paid up to $350 a week if you'll drive around with an advertisement of a well-known product or even events like the 2020 Olympics. They send you a check to deposit into your bank account. Next, they tell you to transfer some of that money to a specialist who puts the ads on your car through a money order or gift card purchase. It's only once their money is gone and no car wrap materializes that they figure out that the specialist is really the scammer. Banks have to make deposited funds available quickly, but it can take days to learn that the check was bad. By then, the scammer has your money and you are the one who has to repay your bank. You should never send money back to someone you don't know who sent a check to you. If you've been a victim of a scam like this, file a complaint at ftc.gov/complaint.
Thanks for watching First Responder TV, your local public safety source. If you have an idea for a segment, an upcoming public safety or fire prevention event, please let us know. This is Kellie Murphy-Ringate giving you information you can use, share, or to live by. See you next time.